Namaskar, good evening. You are watching Rajya Sabha Television. I am Smriti Rastogi with News Tonight. Let's begin the bulletin with the top headlines. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman allays concerns of traders, says government making all efforts to simplify GST. Terms opposition's criticism of the RBI's decision to transfer 1,76,000 crore surplus to the government unfortunate. Government aiming to create 5 crore jobs over the next 5 years, says Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, emphasizes need to increase exports at MSME-related event, reiterates government's commitment to ensure development of backward areas. Ahead of the UN summit to combat desertification of New Delhi next month, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar says India has set a target of restoring 50 lakh hectares of degraded land over the next 10 years. Over 3,000 delegates from 200 countries to take part in the conference. Abrogation of Article 370 that gave special status to Jammu and Kashmir is not a political issue, asserts Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu. Emphasizes that its removal will boost employment and tourism in the state. And after returning from his three-nation visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls on late Arun Jaitley's family members to express condolences. DDCA to rename Delhi's Firoz Shah Kotla Stadium after the former Union Finance Minister at a function on September 12th. Our top focus this evening, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman held a meeting with tax officials and representatives of the business community in Pune on Tuesday. Minister of State for Finance, Anurag Thakur, and Finance Secretary Ajay Bhushan Pandey were also present in the meeting. Addressing a press conference, Finance Minister said that ways to simplify GST and further slashing tax rates were discussed in the meeting. She said that the government wants entrepreneurs to work without any worry. She added that she asked the tax officials not to overstretch to meet tax targets.
The Prime Minister had very clearly said during the Independence Day speech from the Red Fort, and also after that when he has addressed some newspapers, and said how clearly this country values, whatever be the size, small, medium, micro, nano or large, entrepreneurs of this country. We want them to, without a worry, carry on with their business. Similarly, we have expressed our keenness to serve the cause of farmers so that everyone carries on with their business, which essentially creates jobs, which creates wealth for the country. And therefore, it was important that the tax administrators facilitated them. I have announced some measures for the automobile sector. I'll have to see how it goes. I'll also have to take input from the sector as to what kind of an impact the announcements which were already made have had. And only then can I take a call.
Nirmala Sitharaman also dismissed criticism about RBI's decision to transfer 1.76 lakh crore rupees to the government, saying that it was a decision by the central bank and the government had no role to play in it. She said that the top bank's decision is in line with the recommendations of the Bimal Jalan Committee.
that the Bimal Jalan Committee had eminent experts in it. It was constituted by the Reserve Bank themselves and not by the government. They have had several sittings and have said or have come out with a formulae. Like the committees which looked at the excess capital framework earlier. So this is a committee which the Reserve Bank appointed, had experts. They have given a formula based on which the amount is arrived at.
Union MSME Minister Nitin Gadkari said that the government is aiming to generate another 5 crore new jobs in the next 5 years in the sector to make India a $5 trillion economy. Delivering talk on roadmap for growth of MSMEs, he said that the MSME and Khadi Village Industries Commission together contributes 29% to country's growth and 40% to the export. He further said that the government plans to take it to 50% in next 5 years. He said that MSMEs have given employment to around 11 crore people in the recent years. The minister also spoke about promoting Khadi and generating more employment through it.
कहूँ कि टोटल 29% ऑफ जीडीपी हमारा फिलहाल है, उसको 50% हमको करना है। हम टोटल एमएसएमई में 40% ऑफ द एक्सपोर्ट हमारा है, उसको हम मोर देन 50% करेंगे। और अभी तक 11 करोड़ रोजगार निर्माण हुए हैं। हम इस 5 साल में 5 करोड़ नए रोजगार निर्माण करने की कोशिश करेंगे।
And India will host the 14th conference of the parties next month. Delegates from 196 countries, comprising of scientists, government representatives, global business leaders and journalists, will attend the 12th day conference from September 2nd to 13th. The 14th session of COP will stress on 3 crucial issues of desertification, land degradation and drought. Speaking ahead of the upcoming global conference, Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar highlighted India's resolve to combat desertification and said that India will convert degraded land of nearly 50 lakh hectares to fertile land in the next 10 years. The Environment Minister also expressed India's continued commitment to stay on track on a sustainable path to land use and land management.
50 लाख हेक्टर ऐसी खराब हुई जमीन का पुनर्स्थापना करना, उसको फिर से विकसित करके उपजाऊ बनाना, ये चैलेंज हमने लिया है। और उसके साथ साथ एक सेंटर ऑफ एक्सेलेंस देहरादून में बिठाए, ये भी हमने तय किया है। और दिल्ली डिक्लेरेशन जो तय होगा उसमें अनेक कार्यक्रम तय होंगे, उस सभी में भी भारत बराबरी की भागीदारी भी करेगा और दुनिया को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए प्रोत्साहित भी करेगा, ये अपनी कल्पना है। संयुक्त राष्ट्र संघ ने सालों से कुछ प्रयास चालू किए हैं सभी देशों के साथ, और उसमें हर 2 साल के बाद सभी देश इकट्ठा आकर इसमें नया विज्ञान क्या है, हमारे अनुभव क्या है, अपने अनुभव शेयर करते हैं। ऐसे सब करने के लिए एक कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑफ पार्टीज, तो COP 14 भारत में इस बार हो रहा है।
And news now from Jammu and Kashmir, where all high schools in the Kashmir Valley will reopen from Wednesday in areas where restrictions have been lifted. So far, over 3,000 primary schools and 774 middle schools have reopened across the valley. Restrictions on the movement of people have been eased in 81 police station areas across the valley, and further restrictions will be eased out in 10 more areas on Thursday.
Ten more police stations will be opened by Thursday. 15 new exchanges to be opened from today. The list includes in Anantnag, Lakripura, Kokarnag, Duru, Veeri, in Baramulla, Fatehgarh, Gadkhor, Wagura, Rauhama, Salamabad, Watregam, Kumzar, Singhpura, in Badgam, Khansab, Magam, in Kupwara, Tregam. The Education Department has declared open all high schools in those areas where relaxations and restrictions have been given from tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Home Affairs held a high-level meeting on Jammu and Kashmir on Tuesday. The meeting was chaired by Union Home Secretary to discuss the implementation of the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. More than 15 secretaries of major central ministries and departments, including finance, agriculture, road transport, power, rural development and industries, attended the meeting. And a team of Minority Affairs Ministry is also in Kashmir on a two-day visit. The team is expected to identify the areas to implement central government's development projects. The team will also visit Jammu and Ladakh at a later date. A team of officials from Tourism Ministry led by Minister Prahlad Patel will be touring Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh next month to finalize the plans to boost tourism in the two newly formed union territories by 1st of November. Patel said he had already sent two officials from the ministry on deputation to Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, who would act as an advance team. He said that the two recent decisions of the government on e-visas and on opening up of 137 peaks, 15 of which were in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, for foreign tourists would boost the tourism footfall in the region. Patel further added that this would help in the growth of both revenue generation and employment opportunities. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has asserted that abrogation of Article 370 is a national issue and not a political one. Addressing an event on the completion of his 2 years in office in Vijayawada, he said that the abrogation of Article 370 was long overdue as it concerned the unity and integrity of the country. He stressed that its dilution will lead to industrialization of Jammu and Kashmir, create employment and promote tourism.
We must raise above politics. 370 is not a political issue. It's a national issue. Abrogation of 370 is the need of the hour. People are rejoicing across the country. There are some problems in certain areas of Kashmir Valley. They have to be taken care and they will be taken care.
And speaking at another event in Vijayawada on Tuesday, Vice President called on institutions to equip the youth with skills and knowledge required to successfully face the 21st century job market. He stressed that skilled labor force was vital for country's rapid economic progress.
What we should do is the government should focus, universities, higher education institutions must work with the corporate firms and other industries to make the students familiar with the skills required for the 21st century technology. They must prepare and make the students familiar with the skills required for the 21st century technology-dependent job market.
And with that, we'll slip into a very quick break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. In a huge push for women hygiene, the government on Tuesday slashed the price of sanitary napkins sold from Jan Aushadhi Kendras to just 1 rupee per piece from 2.5 rupees earlier. Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers D.V. Sadanand Gowda made this announcement. The biodegradable sanitary napkin Suvidha, sold in a pack of 4, are available at the subsidized price in designated centers across the country. Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers Mansukh Mandavia said that the government has launched Oxo biodegradable sanitary napkins at 1 rupee. These napkins under the brand name Suvidha will be available at 5,500 Jan Aushadhi Kendras across the country. Empowerment of women has been a key initiative of Modi government. During the last 1 year, around 2.2 crore sanitary napkins have been sold from the Jan Aushadhi Kendras. The government also launched Jan Aushadhi Sugham mobile app for locating Jan Aushadhi stores, along with the details of generic medicines available in these stores.
our department has been issued with the direction, pharmaceutical department issued with the direction that within 100 days you should provide these napkins. And especially nearly 5,500 our generic medicine shops should sell these napkins to the women of the country across.
सारे देश में 5,500 जन औषधि स्टोर ओपन किया, अभी खुल रहा है ज़्यादा। ये जन औषधि स्टोर पर सुविधा नैपकिन के माध्यम से सैनिटरी पैड भी उपलब्ध है।
And some more developments. Supreme Court on Tuesday extended Chidambaram's protection from arrest till Wednesday. The court will hear the arguments of the Enforcement Directorate on Chidambaram's petitions on Wednesday. Chidambaram filed a plea against Enforcement Directorate to produce transcripts of his interrogation in INX Media money laundering case. He has filed another application to challenge the order passed by the trial court on Monday, extending his remand under CBI till 30th of August. Chidambaram has also challenged the 22nd August trial court's order, remanding him to CBI custody till 26th of August. Firoz Shah Kotla Stadium is set to be renamed after former Union Minister Arun Jaitley. The DDCA on Tuesday decided to give a new name to Firoz Shah Kotla Stadium as Arun Jaitley Stadium in the memory of its former president who passed away on Saturday. However, the name of the grounds will remain Firoz Shah Kotla. Jaitley is credited with making the stadium equipped with modern facilities and building a world-class dressing room with increased spectator capacity. It will be renamed in a ceremony on 12th of September. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has arrived in Moscow. He is on a two-day visit to Russia, during which he will hold talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov. His visit comes days ahead of the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok from September 4th to 6th, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be the chief guest. During the visit, he will finalize the preparations for Prime Minister's visit. S. Jaishankar and Lavrov will also discuss regional and international issues of mutual interest. He will also meet Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Borisov and participate in Waldai Discussion Club interaction on the theme of India's perspective of the Indo-Pacific. And robos will now serve citizens in Bengaluru at city's first robo restaurant. With a futuristic space-like ambience, one robo ushers and 5 others serve the meals. Here's our report on the restaurant that takes you to the future.
Robot Restaurant is located in the upmarket high street in Bengaluru. The Android-based robot first greets diners, guides them to their table, and in their subsequent visits will also greet them by their names, enabled with its built-in facial recognition technology. The aisles of the restaurant are extra spacious to allow free movement of the robots. The front of the restaurant sports a video wall that offers a cockpit view of outer space. To add on to the futuristic experience, soups and starters are served on mini trains that roll on mini tracks along the tables.
We have come here for the first time. This is a new experience for us where we can see robots serving for us, and there is another new technology where the trains will be coming and we can place order on the tab here. You can see all those dishes here, menus here, and you can place order here, and within 2 minutes of time you can get served from the robots there. Yeah, very nice experience, and I request all the peoples and the new generations to keep coming here often and spread the love. Yeah.
Each table is equipped with a digital tablet through which any dish can be selected and ordered. Once the food is prepared, a robot is assigned to deliver the food to the table. Every table has a digital tablet, and the customer just has to pick and choose, order and wait for the turn. Once the food is ready, the kitchen assigns a robot for dispatch. The staff at the restaurant have been specially trained to handle the robots in case of malfunction.
So this is our first robot-themed restaurant in Bangalore, and it's a fourth venture for us. So once you enter the restaurant, we are allocated the table for you. So if your table number is, for example, I am saying its table number is 12 means, the table 12 will be given a place for you. So you have to come to your table. There is a one tab will be placed in your table. So in the table, the start order button will be there. So in the start order button, if you click, that all the menus will be given in the tab itself.
The first robo-restaurant was launched in 2017 in Chennai, and now Bengaluru is enjoying a high-tech dining experience.
Zoe, Alice and Arya are interactive and are also programmed to sing birthday wishes for you on your birthday. The robot restaurant is another example of how young India is treading on the digital paths. Reporting from Bengaluru with camera person Jitendra Negi and Om Prakash, I'm Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of News Tonight. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.